joining me right here on Prime News to discuss this and so much more. Pleased to have Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman, a great pleasure to have you. Before we get into anything else, I want to get your thoughts on this crazy, radical Harris-Waltz ticket.
I mean, look, Vice President Harris picked someone that she felt like agreed with her ideology, a left-wing socialist ideology. And Governor Walz has governed that way. Look, he is soft on crime. He's friendly to China. All the things that conservatives and working taxpaying Americans are concerned about, Walz is on the opposite side. I think he's going to continue, if given the opportunity, to enact policies like the Biden-Harris administration that have created inflation, that have been soft on crime, and that have left our southern border wide open.
And Congressman, there's now these reports of him fostering cooperation with Communist China. His love affair with Communist China spans decades. Let's play this clip.
Status quo will say, set someone who's been in Congress, set someone who's been in elected office for 25 years, or set someone who's your neighbor, who's been teaching your kids, who's been serving in the Guard unit, and has been fostering cooperation amongst people in China and the United States on their own, understanding that these are the things that tie us together.
You personally know how dangerous it is when we have a sitting politician and leader that may be corrupted by an adversary.
Yeah, China must love this. China's our biggest threat. China manipulates their currency to get trading advantages. China steals our intellectual property, our patents. China invests in disinformation campaigns to try to divide our country and create chaos. And China wants someone that's friendly to them. I've said all along during the Biden influence peddling investigation that China felt like they had bought and paid for the Biden family. Now they have a vice presidential candidate that goes on record saying how great China is. He had his honeymoon in China. He travels to China. He taught in China. He lived in China. This guy is the perfect candidate for President Xi, our biggest adversary. And I think that every American should be more concerned about Walz's relationship and his fascination with China than any of the other bad policies he has. And there are many of those bad policies, but his relationship and fascination with China is the most concerning to me.
A lot of concerning things about this election season, clearly. Today at Mar-a-Lago, President Trump spoke and made some very interesting points about the internal operations going on across the aisle. Here's some of his statements from his news conference today, Congressman.
The presidency was taken away from Joe Biden, and I'm no Biden fan, but I'll tell you what, from a constitutional standpoint, from any standpoint you look at, they took the presidency away. And people were saying he lost after the debate. He couldn't win. Well, I don't know that that's true necessarily, but whether he could win or he couldn't win, he had the right to run. And they took it away. They said they're going to use the 25th Amendment. They're going to hit you hard. Either we can do it the nice. I know exactly, because I know a lot of people on the other side, believe it or not. And they said, we'll do it the nice way or we'll do it the hard way. And he said, all right. So that, I mean, they've really taken, what they've done is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And, you know, do you think that Donald Trump's point here may lead to any type of challenge to Kamala's nomination? Should it be challenged? I mean, there's a constitutional question about this.
I mean, there should be Democrat activists furious over this. They talked about Trump being a threat to democracy. Democracy has never been smacked in the face harder than it was when the Democrats in a smoke-filled room kicked Joe Biden off the ticket after he was the duly elected Democrat nominee and stuck in Kamala Harris, who didn't get a single vote in the primary, not a single vote or delegate in the primary. That is a smack in the face of democracy, and that's something that every American should be concerned with. If the Democrat elite snub their nose at our democratic elections as easily as we just witnessed with the coup of Joe Biden and replacing him with Kamala Harris, then they should be concerned about what else they're going to do that disrespects and disregards our constitutional rights.
Yeah, not a single vote, not a single news conference, 18 days and counting. We'll see. Congressman Comer, I want to ask you about Hunter Biden, allegedly hired by a Romanian businessman trying to influence the U.S. agencies while his dad was vice president. Your reaction, you've done a lot on the Biden family, and this is a new revelation, but potentially one, many say, just to cover special counsel David Weiss and not really lead to anything substantial for Hunter, the first son.
We actually revealed this a year ago when we first got access to this bank violations called the suspicious activity reports that the Bidens had committed. This was one of the first things we realized, that the banks had flagged a transfer, a wire transfer from Romania to one of these shell companies that Hunter Biden had created. And the concerning thing for the banks was not only the fact that they didn't know why in the world there would be a wire going into this fake LLC that was seldom used, but the fact that it's the sitting vice president of the United States' son getting this wire, which would lead to a national security threat, which would suggest a potential bribe. And what David Weiss, to his credit, has said in issuing this is that this was a violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act because Hunter Biden was getting paid by these foreign nationals in Romania to influence the Obama-Biden administration. This happened while Joe Biden was vice president of the United States. This is, I think, the biggest political corruption scandal in our history's lifetime. This Romanian thing was one of about six foreign influence peddling schemes we caught.
Unbelievable. And it's not getting near the attention it should here. You're right. It should be one of the biggest scandals ever. Instead, they like to name call. The left's calling J.D. Vance and Trump ticket weird. I want to ask you, what's weirder? Let's put up this clip, because we gotta lighten it up, right? Shaking your wife's hand or kissing your husband with a mask on, like Kamala and Doug. There was some weird stuff going on here. This is what's kind of weird. I don't know. The handshake here with Walz and his wife. What do you make of it in our final moments here, Congressman Comer?
Yeah, that's weird. It's weird kissing with a mask on. It's weird having ordering tampons to be placed in the boys' bathrooms in all the public schools in Minnesota. This is just a weird guy with a weird vice president. They have bad policies, and I hope every American voter sees through this November.
We'll see. Obviously, we're here talking about the facts and the truth. Congressman James Comer of Kentucky, chair of the House Oversight. Pleasure to have you. Thanks for joining me tonight on Prime News.
Thanks for having me.